Welcome you already to our working group on composting. So as mentioned, we have 3 speakers here, which I would like to welcome. We have Federica Gravina, Martin Valach, and also Dimitris Giannopoulos. Hello, a very warm welcome to you. And we will talk about different composting schemes that you have been using, and we're very interested in listening to you. We also have Jean-Benoit with us, who is going to ask you also some questions, and we hope you also have questions which we can discuss and debate together. So with this, I would like to go right away to Federica, ask you to share your presentation, and we are looking forward to your presentation. Federica.
Yes, thank you so much for this very bright introduction. Thank you. I don't know if you can see my presentation now. Can you see it?
Perfect now. Thank you.
Okay, so let's start. This is actually a very brief example of what we do in the Casalgrande municipality, that is this small municipality in the Emilia-Romagna region in Italy. So I am Federica Gravina and I work for the municipality. So today I would like to describe a little bit more indeed the home composting and the economic incentives good practice. As you know, the practice consists in collecting the organic waste and storing it in heaps outdoors or composter. And obviously the process of accelerating the biowaste decomposition is guaranteed by this small decomposing organism present and developed inside the composter. And but just to keep it very brief, what we have done at municipal level, for sure, we have tried to enhance on composting by introducing the 25% economic incentive in the waste service tariff for citizens who decide to compost bio-waste in their own gardens. And we also try to enforce the technical support in composting for householders. This type of practice actually depends, the cost linked to this, to the implementation of this practice are actually linked to the number of participants adopting the home composting practice. And so the amount, the percentage of reduction you would like to include in the tariff, in the waste management tariff. For example, in 2020, 200 householders against 80,000 citizens here in Casalgrande adopted the home composting practice, and expenditure for the municipality was around 80,000 euro. If you would like to implement this good practice, for sure, a couple of challenges should be considered during the implementation. For example, you need to be careful to carry out checks on composting, just to demonstrate that what is effectively under implementation in the gardens, in the households, perfectly match with the economic incentives assigned to the householder by the municipality. And another important aspect would be, for sure, the monitoring of home composting activity in households. Especially, you need to be careful in checking if the composting land data entered by the householder is the one correct, actually. This type of practice, we believe it is very transferable because it is intuitive, immediate, and very easy to implement, since it doesn't require a large portion of territory. And if you have, for example, the opportunity to hire a specialist, maybe from a private company, private business company that works for the municipality, who can look after the service, maybe the citizen could also receive as an additional service, for example, the monitoring of the quality of the compost produced. They could also, the citizen could also receive the technical advice and, for example, could use activators to accelerate the development of better compost. So we think that this practice is very useful useful because it obviously let the bio-waste production to be reduced, actually, and also another consequence is that the cost of treatment and disposal of bio-waste are obviously decreased in connection to the less bio-waste production. And if you would like to implement this type of practice, we would like to give you a few tips. For example, it's important that local administration cooperate with private business companies, because maybe the private business companies could provide to citizens composters for free in exchange of visibility. Another solution could be, for example, to set up several training courses for school students and citizens about composting, since this type of practice, as said before, it's quite intuitive and easy to apply at school and family level. And finally, we believe that it's essential for the implementation of this type of activities, the communication aspect, because you need to communicate very effectively how it works, and the home composting, obviously, and you can do that in cooperation with local environmental education centers. We usually work together with these centers when implementing, when promoting and communicating this type of practice. So I think that for me it's everything. So thank you for the attention. And I don't know if you have questions or something like that.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Federica. I think it's very interesting how you have approached this. I would ask our participants, please post your questions in the chat or raise your hand and ask a question also to Federica. It's now the possibility to see from a real life example what has been going well, what has been going not so well. So please don't be shy. Maybe a question for me, Federica. You mentioned 25% of economic incentive. Can you say a little bit more about that? What that exactly was? Is it 25% less fees, or how is it working?
Exactly. Because here in Emilia-Romagna region, we have this punctual tariff. It's a kind of tariff that you apply to citizens and according to the amount of waste produced. So you have two parts in this tariff. The first part is a variable part that it actually depends on what you produce in terms of waste. And in this case, the 20% is applied to this variable part of the tariff. And then you have a fixed part that is related to, for example, the square meters of your flat and maybe the number of householders within the flat using this type of service. So this is the main scheme here in the Emilia-Romagna.
Thank you, Federica.
I hope I had answered.
Of course. Thank you very much. Jean-Benoit?
Yes, thanks a lot for your very interesting presentation. I've got one question on controls, actually, because I know that when you give this kind of incentive, then you will still have, maybe you won't, but sometimes you have people that want to get the saving, but not comply with the recommendation. How did you implement the controls? How did people react to that? And in case the controls show that they were non-compliant, what did you do?
Okay, we usually ask to our multi-utility to business company, in this case the name is Iren, to carry out this on-the-spot checks, and they are actually quite frequent because we need to understand if people actually declare the correct amount of composting produced and the land and the type of composter, so all the data related to this activity. So usually people that have this, adopt this type of practice, this type of composting are quite, how can I say, they respect all the parameters we gave as municipalities. So at the moment we have no so much big trouble in this, because you know we have to monitor just 200 people, so not so much citizenship, we can say.
Thank you. But control is good, I think, at least to get to better results. Thank you very much. We have a question from Piotr Barczak. He says that in Poland we have municipalities that give a rebate of €2 per household for home composting. So that's about 10 zloty. How would you react to that? I guess, do you think it's enough or too little? What would you say?
I don't know. Maybe it could be too little. I don't know, but actually it depends on the type of I think it depends on the type of tariff you impose in your municipality. We have this type of system, so that go hand in hand with the collection system. So I think if the collection system is effective, you can apply a high percentage to home composting. Also because it's important, as you were saying before in the previous presentation, it's important to produce biowaste in order to let maybe transform it in biogas and other type of useful elements in the light of the circular economy and waste also disposal. Okay, just this. I hope I answered.
Thank you. We have a question from Sara Martinez Cotanda. What kind of activators are you using to accelerate the compost development? You mentioned these activators.
Yes. Sorry, but I am not able to answer this question because it's something that is managed directly by our experts in the multi-utility company we work with. So I was not able to answer. I'm so sorry.
No problem. We can send you the question and maybe you can ask and we can inform you afterwards what it was. Maybe at the same time, also, I don't know if you know that, Philippe Michaud Naudet is asking, do you have numbers about the avoided costs related to biowaste management thanks to the implementation of composting? You mentioned that as well, the costs are going down because you have less waste to manage. Do you have any figures about that?
No, at the moment, no, but I think that we can collect this type of figures together with our public relation office, because we usually cooperate with our internal departments for getting this information. But if they are relevant, maybe I can ask them and I will provide it. Sure.
Yeah, I think in the same direction, the question is going from Annabella Rebello. How much has the biowaste decreased with this plan?
No, I said before, yes, I said before, I cannot at the moment estimate the number of the number of biowaste reduction at the moment, but maybe later I will be able to send it to you.
Thank you. Sorry, but I'm just gonna go on, and we will promise that we will answer all your questions, even if it's afterwards. So we have Herman Kocher. Hello, Herman, to you. It's nice to see you. Do you have an estimate of the cost per person associated with a project such as training, assistance, and accompanying for citizen?
Okay, in this regard, I can say that we work with these educational training centers that are linked to several that work with several municipalities in our region, and we usually pay them to organize this type of activities, but there is no specific cost in relation, because we pay for the people working in this center, and then they set up several communication activities according to the money available at that moment in the municipal among the municipalities, because this type of center work together with different municipalities in the same area. So with us, Casal Grande, and other 2 or 3 municipalities. So it depends on the annual amount of money that we decide to put in the environmental communication activities. So
thank you, Federica. That sounds very good. I think we have another question from Piotr, which is asking: is home composting calculated to the achievement of recycling targets by the municipality, or is waste prevention? I would have a guess, but let's ask Federica.
No, I think no, it is much more linked to the recycling targets of the municipality in this sense, because we are trying to, we set together with our multi-utility company, we set the targets in compliance with the regional targets, because we need to respect some kind of regional, the regional waste management plan. And according to them, we need to implement several activities like composting. Yes.
So it's a recycling activity, or is it actually a prevention activity? I would have thought it's a prevention activity.
We half and half, we can say, because it's a recycling in the sense that you can obviously recover some kind of elements that will be then transformed by the multi-utility company in, for example, biogas. But on the other half, it's also a waste prevention activity, because you avoid to produce waste, as said during my presentation before. So it's an half and half, because you can you prevent to produce waste, but you also help in general the multi-utility company to produce biogas and other elements, other things.
Exactly. I think you are contributing to both here. Yes, depending also on your target groups. Very good. Thank you so much, Federica, also for trying to answer the questions. As we said, what is not working, we will which we have not been answered, we will send to you later.
Yes, thank you so much.
So Philippe Michaud is saying the Waste Framework Directive allows home composting to be included in the calculation of the recycling rate, so it is in the interest of municipalities to include it. Very good point. Thank you very much. And Piotr is concluding, indeed, it's a discussion, recycling or prevention. Just hope that municipalities are not inflating the numbers of amounts in order to achieve their targets. Well, of course, we should all be clear. So, Jean-Benoit, do you have a last word on that issue?
Well, on this question, prevention, recycling, I used to think it was more prevention, and now I think more that it's recycling. I think it really depends. For garden waste, we can argue that it's prevention, because like the garden waste would be produced and you're reusing them in a way. But for food waste, you can still waste some food that you could have eaten and composting at home. And then it's for me, it's more recycling. And well, this is maybe a question we can ask for all the speakers at the end, but how do you articulate both, like food waste prevention and this kind of activity? My point is, it does not mean that like people doing home composting should also try and reduce their food waste, because as we said, the impact of food production is really massive, and composting it at home is good, but won't do much about it.
Very good. Thank you. I think it's a good suggestion, Jean-Benoit. We will come back to at the end again when we have heard everybody. And with this, we would like to go to Slovakia. We have Martin Valach with us from the Slovak University of Agriculture. And I would ask you, Martin, to also now present your community composting scheme that you have in the city of Nitra. Please, the word is yours.
Thank you very much for the introduction. I'm going to share my screen. Hope this will work. Can you see my presentation?
We see it, and you just have to put it on full mode now, please.
Okay.
It's perfect. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, dear guests, I would like to briefly introduce you our good practice of the community composting in the city of Nitra in Slovakia. First of all, I would like to thank to Mr. Stefan Kralik, who is the operator of this good practice and this composting, and he is the head of the civic association, which can be translated like composting community or community that is composting or something like that. So if we look at the good practice at a glance, this project was launched in 2018 as a community composting for 50 households, whose final product, compost, serves for involved households and for maintaining the public areas. Operator of this good practice is the civic association, as I already mentioned. One of the important goals was to get the local community familiar with the issue of composting, mainly in terms of its benefits and its perception, because we can say that in our country, in Slovakia, the issues relating to waste separation, composting, recycling, and so on is quite underdeveloped, and people often have some like distorted ideas about this. So as we will see further, these goals were more or less fulfilled. So from the technical point of view, the principle is very simple. Within this project, each household obtained a manual for biowaste sorting, some kind of brochure or some little booklet or something like that. A small bucket for the biowaste, and a key from the composter, because it is not available for everyone, but only for the involved households or involved people. As we can see here, the community composting is not an expensive thing to do. The first grant, which was provided by Nitra Community Foundation, was 4,000 euros, 3,000 euros for the composter itself, and 1,000 euro for promotion and composting accessories. Biowaste needs to be dug and mixed on the regular basis, and this is done voluntarily by the members of the civic association. On the picture below, we can see the guy who is actually the head of the civic association, which is handling with the compost free of charge and and in his free time. Thus, there are no additional costs related to operation of this composter. 2 years ago, another small grant was obtained, and it was spent to organize a lecture with an expert and the development of the composting guide, some brochure with some guidelines on how to properly handle with biowaste and subsequently with the compost. 2 years after the start of the project, it can be stated that the project is successful, because the composter has been filled twice, and the compost has been offered twice to the participating households, of course free of charge. And another evidence of success is that there is a growing interest in using the composter. The civic association, who is the operator of this good practice, is asked by people to join to the composting and to this project. Also, the project is now visible by the authorities of our city, and in 2020 the cooperation with the municipal office in Nitra had started. And last year, the new sites for composters have been identified, and the city already contracted 40 new community composters that are currently being deployed around the city. And the city is also preparing some lectures on how to compost properly and good. So it will be organized sometimes in the March or April, I think, as I remember. Some words to the potential or for the learning. Other communities has been inspired by the pilot project, and also the new project for 60 households has been developed free of charge by this civic association. And also, as the previous speaker said, that the environmental education is a really very important point. And in the civic association, they set two objectives. Objective one is to involve as many households as possible in the sorting of this kind of waste. And objective two is the reduction of the amount of the municipal solid waste produced. As I know from the director of this civic association, in our city there is a growing interest in this kind of activities. So just to conclude, we can say that the composting for the people living in flats can be very attractive, and also can be very effective because in terms of some costs, because it's really cheap and effective things. This is the project which is focused on for the people in flats, while for the people living in the family houses, each household in the family houses have the individual bin for biological waste, and it is collected depending on the season. In spring, summer, and autumn is I think once a week, and during the winter time it's like once a month, I think. So these are like two ways of handling with this kind of waste in our city. So thank you for the attention.
Thank you very much, Martin. That sounds excellent. I think you have been implementing a very good scheme, and I'm really happy also to hear about your example. I would like to give the word first to Jean-Benoit for some questions, please.
Thank you. Well, thanks a lot for the presentation. It's really nice to see an initiative also coming from comes from the people, and that the people are willing to participate from their own initiative after seeing the results. I've got maybe a more technical question on the question of animal byproducts, because we've got some members that have issues with animal byproduct with decentralized system, because sometimes the regulation asks for hygienization of animal byproduct before using the compost. I don't know if it's something you consider or it's something you don't consider.
As I was talking with the guy from the civic association, this is one of the purposes of their educational activities to have people know what is going to be in this kind of waste, and what is going to be not in this type of waste. So I think that users of these composters are now really aware of that. Only a plant-based bio-waste needs to be put in the composter bin. So also I think that they have no problems or no big problems with some animal byproducts. And I think that the good evidence of the good composting is that there is no smell around, and there are also no mice, no rats, and no this kind of problems. So I can say that this shows that they are doing the thing well.
Thanks. And maybe another question, and then I leave the floor to you, Astrid. Your practice really rely on the voluntary participation of the association, which is very nice, but also it can be a threat, like if the volunteers are moving away or they lose interest. Do you have something in mind to keep the interests strong?
I think that if they are going to do something with the compost, they are always ready to invite as many people as possible from the surroundings to see how it works, and they are especially focusing on on one hand on children and on one hand on the old people. So I think that for the next period, let's say 3, 4, 5 years, the voluntarily basis is sure, let's say.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jean-Benoit and Martin. I was going to ask you the same question. If the gentleman is going away or he moves to a different city, then you have nobody to take care of your compost anymore. That would be difficult. So something to do. I have a question with regard to convenience. How far is it for people to go with their little bag to the composter?
It's right before their flats. They are going out and maybe up to 100 meters, let's say. So it's really close.
It's really convenient. That's great, because
yes.
Convenience is important. I can also add that we have here it's not a home composter, because we are in a big office building in Brussels, the Renewable Energy House, but we also then we have an office composter, let's say, and we also educated everybody that there is no cooked food and no animal byproducts which are going in there, just plant-based, and a lot of coffee ground, of course. And so we don't have problems either. So that's very good. Thank you. So it's very close. For the family houses, the bins, is that also kitchen waste, or is that more green waste?
Green waste. Green waste mainly from gardens. And also the city had issued some instructions on which kind of kitchen waste have to be put into the Biowaste bin. And now in Slovakia there is a law that it was approved last year, as I remember correctly, that posing an obligation for handling with kitchen waste, but there were also some problems with pandemic, and so and many things, many things were slowing down. So I think that during this year 2020, the processing of kitchen waste have to be compulsory for households. So we will see. We will wait how the things will go.
I have a question from Anna Kotisada asking: there is no need to water the composting piles? I guess no, there is no water involved, or?
As I know, as I'm aware, that they are not using water.
Then we have a question from Sara Martinez again. For people who are involved in this project, have they any kind of reduction in their taxes or waste fees, I guess?
This is only at the voluntarily basis and on the pure enthusiasm of the people.
Very good. And I think with your training program and your involvement of the community, that's a good motivator, I guess. I have a question from Annabella. What about flying vectors in the summer? Do we have problems with flies, these kind of things?
As I already said, there are no such bigger problems with because the plant waste is not such attractive for flies like meat and so on. So I think that this is not really a problem, and this is also a very good point, because the people have some prejudice about this. So now, after 2 years of the project operation, people see that that composting do not bring such problems within. So.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So we will now go further south and we look to Greece. We have an excellent example also from Western Thessaly in Greece. So I am going to ask Dimitris to also share his presentation with us.
Hello to everyone. Give me a second, please. Can you see my presentation?
Very good. It's working. Yeah.
Hello again. I'm Dimitris Giannopoulos, and I will present you a pilot action on home composting organized by PAVIF. Just a few words about PAVIF. PAVIF is the Solid Waste Association in Western Thessaly in Greece. 10 municipalities participate in our association, and we represent 245,000 inhabitants. The regional waste management plant had home composting of biowaste as a priority. That's why we decided in 2016 to organize a pilot action on home composting. First of all, we started with the bin supply, and then we had a campaign and other communication activities, following by the training period. The total budget of the action was 134,000 euros, and it was covered exclusively by our agency, PAVIF. After a comparative assessment, we finally decided to select 4 bin types. You can see in the photo. We bought 700 bins, which represent roughly 10% of the regional waste management plan estimated target. The bins had a capacity of 300 liters. In this project, 9 municipalities were involved, and the municipalities were also responsible for the bin distribution. 51 of the bins were used in schools, and the rest were used by household users. In order to promote and make all this project more interesting to the people, we started to visit schools and municipalities in order to inform students and the local population about the action. In the project, 4 trainers were also involved in order to train the final users how to be more productive. The trainers visited the bin users once per 2 weeks. They gave guidelines and tried to motivate the bin users. Optionally, sometimes they can answer the phone call and give some short assistance. In all this period, the trainers collected a lot of data about the bin use, the waste type, the waste quantities, etc. And at the end of the project, they also carried out a questionnaire to the most of the participants. To sum up, we would say that the whole action was widely acceptable by the participants, and most of the participants found this procedure easy, or a very easy procedure. Also, most of the participants were already environmentally aware. They also did recycling. They have positive option for the project. We estimated that the waste volume reduction was roughly 35% on average, and the main issue, the main thing is that the training and the assistance to the bin users was very essential in order to success all these projects. Another fact is that the school and the neighborhood word of mouth had a wide diffusion effect of the action. We noticed that people in the neighborhood discussed about this project, and they tried to participate in future projects. And finally, good results of the pilot action were adopted from the region of Thessaly in the ongoing call for proposal. And we are focusing in order to have a full implementation of home composting according to our plan. Thank you very much for your kind attention, and I'm here for your questions.
Thank you very much, Dimitris. I think you've also made an excellent presentation of your activity, and it was very nice also to see that you have been providing some figures, how much it costs you, how many bins you deliver to whom. Very good. So I give the word to Jean-Benoit for any first questions.
Yes, thanks for the presentation. Indeed, very detailed, very interesting. Yeah, I've got mostly two questions. The first one is the kind of messages you used to attract people and to make them participate. Like, how did you convince them to participate? And the second one is, I see that in your plan, you've got, you plan to have both home composting and biowaste collection in parallel. So what is the room you wish to give to home composting in your general system? Like, where will you promote home composting and where will you promote biowaste collection? Do you see that at different services? So that's my two questions.
Thank you, Sean. First of all, about the communication and how we try to promote this to the people. First of all, we used social media and other portals in order to bring schools and the local communication, the local population, in order to learn what will be the future project. You can see the photos here. But I have to notice that each one of the 9 municipalities after that had their own bin distribution system. For example, some municipalities had a list of the interesting of the population, and the first take the bin. For example, the first you apply, you get the bin. Other municipalities had the lottery at the end because the applications were more than the bins they had to provide. So it depends on the way the municipalities wanted to move on with this kind of promotion and bin distribution. Your second question was about the call for proposals, right?
The messages you used. Mm.
Yes, and how we combine home composting and biowaste, if I understand well, right, Jen?
Yes, like to know, because yes, I guess you have to design the certain, like you have to foresee a certain number of participants for home composting and then design biowaste collection in a certain way, depending on that, and also your treatment unit. So how much size you want to give to home composting? Or do you plan to, plan to have specific areas with home composting and other with biowaste collection? Like, how do you plan to articulate the two?
I will give you some details. The target of the regional waste management plan, as I referred, is only 5% biowaste diversion of landfills due to the home composting. we bought 700 bins for home composting, and roughly we estimated that at the end we will get 7,000 bins. These bins will be used only from a small part of the population in our area. It will be people that they want to do it, they would like to do it. They have the place in their garden to put the bin. So home composting is only one of our goals. The second is the brown bin, and how can we separate biowaste in a bigger scale in all our area, in all our population. We can see that the initiative that we took on home composting will help us to train people about biowaste separation. They are not the same, but they have a lot of similarities. In home composting, you can use only specific waste. You cannot use animal byproducts. For example, you can use only the residues from the peel of tomatoes or potatoes or other vegetables. And of course, you can use the grass or leaves from your trees. On the other hand, biowaste through the brown bin will be more a bigger campaign, a bigger action in order to get much bigger quantities of biowaste in order to treat in a centralized MBT plant. This MBT plant is going to start the construction in the next month, and it will have two different lines, one for mixed waste and for general waste. But the most important is that the second line is only for biowaste through anaerobic digestion, post-composting anaerobically, and finally production of very high quality of compost.
Very good. I think we can see that you're making a lot of progress. I was going to ask you about continuation, but you have already outlined that very well. Thank you very much. Just a very brief answer to the last question. Are food retailers involved in your project?
Excuse me, can you repeat it, Astrid?
Are food retailers already involved in your project? Markets, small supermarkets, are they already involved in your project?
No. As I said, in this action, only schools and household users were involved in home composting action.
Thank you very much. I would like to ask for a last round. I would ask our speakers, would you please kindly let me know what are you thinking the three main success factors are for the home composting, and also say what you think. Is it more prevention or more recycling? To see with the request of Jean-Benoit. So, shall we start at the beginning? Federica, what do you think are your three success factors for your home composting scheme?
But I believe that for sure the communication and the promotion of the activities among citizens is very helpful, and also providing instructions on how to do it, because sometimes the most difficult part is to explain actually how it works, and correct data delivered by our citizens. I think this could be the three main elements for us.
Thank you, Federica. And going to Martin, what would you think your main success factors three have been?
Yeah, three. Okay, so let's start. I think the first one is willingness of people to do it. willingness of local community, let's say. Then replicability in other locations of the city, but not only in the city, but anywhere. And last but not least, maybe the low cost of the system. Yeah.
Yeah, could be playing an important role. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Martin. And then we're coming to Dimitris. I think you have said already a lot of it, but maybe you can just summarize your 3 main successful factors.
I agree, of course, is the communication activities and the campaign. Second one, I think, is to have devoted users, to have people that already get involved and they would like to go further on it. And they have decided to participate it fully and give solution to any small problems. And the last one is the training, and just one result that we got from the questionnaire is that maybe one visit per 2 weeks, it's an often period. A lot of people say that one visit per month might be also enough in order to get involved and find the good solution and, to go on. In your question about recycling and prevention, for me it's prevention, and I think it is also legally the European Union directives and Greek law, it says that it is prevention. For me, it's prevention, and the answers that we got from the people was mainly in order to reduce waste. A lot of people, their motivation was to reduce waste, and then secondary to have their own compost.
Thank you very much. I think this is a nice concluding word from your side, that we can all engage. If it's prevention or recycling, for me, it's a good thing to do in any case. So the legal aspects I leave to the lawyers and to decide. But I think in any case, you have been presenting us excellent case studies for your communities, which are easily replicable, as you have been all saying, and communicate, and let the people know how to do it, and then they might be also more willing to participate. So thank you very much for your presentations. I hope to see you all back in our concluding session, and where I will also ask you a little bit to vote on what we can discuss and do in the future. So let's go back to our main room and see you there for our conclusions and presentations of future possibilities.